From living in the woods to invading public spaces,
เดี๋ยวค่อยๆเบาๆเดี๋ยวคว่ำขัน
hang on for the jaw-dropping moments when massive snakes came out of their hideouts and got caught on camera. In the swamps, it's common to see a snake, but finding one this big was a surprise for the man. He had come to explore and see what the area had to offer. As he walked through the thick plants, he suddenly spotted the giant snake. Seeing such a large snake made him stop for a moment and rethink about his visit. He stood still, watching the snake and how it blended in with its surroundings. While he had come to explore, this unexpected sight reminded him of the wild side of the swamp. 50-feet snake.
Our verified team sorting fact from fiction when it comes to all those viral videos.
Yes, take this one from Nature is Scary on Twitter from Monday, claiming to show a 50-foot anaconda swimming across a Brazilian river.
A video going around on social media shows a huge 50-foot anaconda swimming across a river in Brazil. The sight of this giant snake moving through the water has caught a lot of attention, and some people are asking if it could be a Titanoboa. This popular video showing an unusual giant quickly got the attention of the online experts who decided to examine the footage. According to one of the experts, it could be a road, and the anaconda could be just crossing the road, and the river was added later in the footage. But the majority denied this claim. So, what's the truth? Let me know what you think. Snake monster. This man heard some weird squeaking sounds coming from his garage, and he realized the truth when he went to check it out. There in the corner was a huge snake, so large it almost looked like a monster. The man kept a safe distance, watching it closely, and quickly called the local wildlife authorities. They arrived soon after and carefully moved the snake, making sure it was safely taken back to its natural habitat. The man felt relieved once it was gone, but the surprise of finding such a guest in his garage was something he wouldn't forget anytime soon. Borneo snake. Indonesia always has surprising things to show, and this moment was no different. In the quiet, rain-soaked forests of Borneo, a huge snake appeared, moving slowly and steadily through the trees. The gentle rain might have drawn it out of its hidden home, yet it didn't seem to be in a hurry, almost as if it knew exactly where it wanted to go. The people who were nearby watched quietly, curious about this unexpected visitor. The snake moved peacefully, not bothered by anyone around it. They couldn't help but wonder what had brought this giant creature here, and where it might be heading as it continued its silent path through the damp forest. Crossing giant. This man was walking near some woods when he suddenly stopped. He saw something surprising on the road ahead. A huge snake was crossing from one side to the other, moving as if it had a purpose. He stood still for a moment, watching how the snake moved smoothly. It looked very confident, sliding across the road without rushing. The man wondered where the snake came from and where it was going. As he watched this big snake, he felt curious. Could it be a Titanoboa from the myths? I'm leaving it on you to decide. Balito giant. Hiking took an unexpected turn for a man walking in the woods of Balito. While he enjoyed his walk, he suddenly came face to face with a huge snake. Its size surprised him, making him wonder if it was just an ordinary snake or something much larger. The snake seemed to notice him right away and took him as a predator. In a flash, it quickly disappeared into the thick bushes, leaving the man standing there in surprise. He took a moment to think about what had just happened, realizing that the woods can hold many surprises. Fat snake. A large, fat giant was seen crossing the road near some fields, drawing the attention of anyone nearby. As it moved slowly, It looked like it was having trouble because of its big stomach. The shape of its belly suggested that it had probably just eaten something significant. People watching from a distance couldn't help but to be curious about what it had caught. The snake seemed determined to continue its journey, taking its time as it made its way across the road. Some onlookers took a moment to appreciate the sight, marveling at the size of the creature. Finally, the snake made it to the other side, disappearing into the grass and fields, leaving the watchers wondering about its adventures in the wild. Catching Titanoboa. Wildlife authorities got an unusual call from people in a remote area who had seen a snake so large that some believed it could be the legendary Titanoboa. Curious but careful, the team set out to the thick fields where it had been spotted. When they found the snake, they were shocked by its size. It wasn't an ordinary catch. They soon realized it would take more than a few people to handle it. In the end, they had to call a vehicle just to move the huge creature. The team couldn't help but feel this encounter was like something out of a legend. As they took the snake away, they wondered if this sighting was a reminder of the hidden mysteries still waiting to be discovered in nature. Snake on road. These residents were surprised when they saw something unusual one evening. As they went about their business, they noticed a giant snake crossing the road. It was so large that it struggled to get to the other side. The size of the snake left everyone in awe, and a small crowd began to gather around it. The people watched closely, amazed by the sight. No one felt brave enough to move any closer, but they all wanted to see what would happen next. The snake moved slowly and gracefully, and the residents couldn't help but wonder about its journey and where it was headed. Angry giant. While exploring the woods, a man came across a giant snake resting on a low-hanging branch of a tree. The snake's massive size and its watchful eyes made it clear that it was not pleased with the man's presence. It seemed to be keeping a close eye on him, almost as if it was ready to defend its space. The man, sensing the tension, decided to be cautious. He took out his camera and began recording a video to capture this unusual sight. After a short time, he felt it was best to leave the area, leaving the snake to enjoy its peace in the tree. Swimming monster.
Oh my god. Hello, lava.
A group of friends decided to swim at a local lake on a sunny day. As they enjoyed the clear water, they noticed they were not alone. A giant snake was swimming nearby, having its own fun in the water. The friends were surprised but relieved to see that the snake seemed calm and didn't bother them. They watched it glide gracefully through the lake. Feeling it was best to be safe, they called the wildlife authorities. Soon, professionals arrived and carefully guided the snake out of the water.
Vai pra mata now?
Amazon rainforest Titanoboa. This man went scuba diving to explore the waters of the Amazon rainforest. He hoped to see some interesting fish and plants. As he swam deeper, he noticed something unusual in the water. It was a giant snake, much larger than any snake he had seen before. The size of the snake made him think of the stories about the Titanoboa, a creature from ancient myths. He watched as it moved through the water, and he couldn't help but feel amazed. This snake was not just any ordinary one. Seeing such a large creature made him wonder about the other mysteries hidden in the depths of the Amazon. Snake above hut. This massive snake was spotted climbing up a small hut in a quiet village. Its enormous size and length made it look like it could easily wrap around the entire house. The villagers gathered to watch in amazement as the snake slowly made its way up. They were filled with curiosity and a little bit of fear, wondering what kind of creature this could be. Some of them speculated whether it could be a real-life Titanoboa or perhaps something even more mysterious. Longest snake. In the Amazon River, a giant anaconda, known as the longest snake in the world, was spotted moving along the ground. A man exploring the area noticed this massive snake as it looked straight at him. He couldn't believe his eyes, as it was the largest snake he had ever seen. The anaconda appeared calm, moving slowly as it slithered across the ground. Its size was impressive, and it seemed to command the space around it. The man watched in awe as he thought about how many other fascinating creatures might be hiding in the dense jungle nearby. Tree hider. While a man was checking his fields one day, he noticed something unusual in the bushes. There was a giant snake climbing up as if it had settled in comfortably. The snake was large, with its long body stretching through the bushes. The people standing there were amazed by the sight, because how often do you spot a giant snake right in front of you? He had never come across a snake this big in his fields before. The snake moved calmly, almost like it belonged there. Even as he left, the sight of that huge snake stayed in his mind, a reminder of the unexpected things nature sometimes brings close to home. Curled up monster. While exploring a remote island, a group of friends saw something surprising. They found a giant snake curled up around a big tree trunk, its long body wrapped around the trunk several times, and they were amazed by its size. The friends stood still, looking at the snake and wondering if they should get closer. They thought carefully about what to do next. Realizing it was better to keep a safe distance, they watched the snake quietly. This experience reminded them of the surprises nature can show in hidden places. Gymnastic snake.
How will we get him away?
We won't.
Taking a stroll in the backyard can sometimes lead to unexpected surprises, and that's exactly what happened to a man one random Monday. As he was enjoying his walk, he spotted a huge 5-foot python slithering gracefully across the roof of his house and through the trees in his garden. The sight was so unusual that he decided to capture the moment on video and share it on TikTok. The video left viewers puzzled, as the python's movement seemed almost like a display of gymnastic tricks, or perhaps a special mission. Its unexpected performance on the rooftop certainly turned a routine backyard stroll into a memorable adventure. It seems that sometimes nature puts on a show just when you least expect it.
It's got bones.
Oh, see, I would have thought that would have dropped.
Yeah, same.
Oh, look at him.
African rock python. Hiking in the mountains didn't go as planned for this man. While on a quiet trail, he suddenly stopped. Right in front of him was a massive African rock python moving slowly in his direction. As he looked closer, he realized there were actually 2 snakes. The smaller one was curled around the larger, perhaps staying close for safety. Together, they moved toward a nearby hole and disappeared into the ground. The man watched in quiet amazement, reminded of the unexpected surprises nature often holds. Massive cobra. In Malaysia, a surprising scene happened when a massive cobra climbed up the side of a house. The large snake caught the attention of nearby residents as it wrapped itself around the doorframe. The people living in the house were shocked by this uninvited visitor. They had never seen such a big cobra so close before, and it quickly became the talk of the neighborhood. While some watched from a safe distance, others took out their phones to record the moment. The cobra moved smoothly, leaving everyone curious about how it got there and what it would do next. But soon, the authorities reached and took it safely back to the wildlife, where it belonged. Yellow anaconda. A group of friends went boating in the waters of the Amazon, hoping to catch some fish. As they floated along, excited to see what they might find, they were surprised when they spotted something very different from fish. Right beside their boat was a huge yellow snake slithering through the water. Its big belly made them think it had just eaten something, and they couldn't believe their eyes. Interestingly, this same snake had also been seen on the shores of Brazil, making people wonder what other large animals might be hiding nearby. This experience reminded the friends that the Amazon is full of surprises, and that many amazing creatures are still waiting to be discovered. Amazon giant.
Quem puder filmar, ó, agora na saída aí.
While on a peaceful trip to the Amazon forest, this man came across something unexpected. As he walked through the dense greenery, he suddenly spotted a giant snake moving slowly up into the bushes nearby. The snake's length seemed endless, stretching far longer than he had ever imagined. He couldn't help but wonder if this was more than just an ordinary snake, maybe something much more mysterious. Keeping his distance, he quietly watched as it continued its path, disappearing deeper into the forest. Burmese python.
This team has been radio tracking invasive Burmese pythons for about the last 10 years, learning about their behaviors so we can find out methods to more effectively remove them from the ecosystem. And we do that by implanting radio transmitters inside of our pythons, and then we follow them around the landscape.
In 2022, biologists from the Conservancy of Southwest Florida were in for quite a discovery during their work in the Florida Everglades. As they tracked local wildlife, they came across a Burmese python unlike any they'd seen before. This one was enormous, a colossal female weighing an astonishing 215 pounds and stretching nearly 18 feet in length. Carefully, they managed to capture the giant snake, marking it as the heaviest Burmese python ever recorded in the area. The biologists couldn't believe the size of this python, knowing it was a rare find. Camera lover giant.
We actually start taking pictures of my boas.
This giant mother snake was found during the breeding season, a time when snakes come out to find partners. It had sweat on its body from being active in the warm weather. The snake looked calm and seemed interested in the camera, which made me think it might enjoy being filmed. This moment showed that even wild animals can have their own unique behaviors, surprising us with their curiosity. If you ask me, I'd say this snake might have more secrets hidden within the depths of the forest, waiting to be discovered. Titanoboa. Have you heard of Titanoboa? For those who haven't, it was a huge snake that lived a long time ago, around 60 million years ago. This giant creature could grow up to 40 feet long and lived in the warm, swampy forests of South America, making it the largest snake ever known. Most scientists believe Titanoboa is gone for good, but recent sightings like this one have made some people wonder. Could a snake that big really survive in today's world, hidden in remote jungles? While no one can say for sure, the sightings sparked curiosity and made people think about what other surprises might be waiting in our unexplored forests. Amazon anaconda. Being in the Amazon and not coming across a massive snake is quite unlikely. During his exploration of this amazing region, one man caught sight of a giant anaconda in the waters. The anaconda was large, and he took the time to measure its size, fascinated by its strength and beauty. After recording the measurements, he made the decision to return the snake to the water. Gently, he released the anaconda back into its natural habitat, watching as it glided away into the depths of the river. Seeing such a huge snake close up was of course a once-in-a-lifetime moment for him. Wrapped up mystery. A wrapped-up snake was found at the edge of a swamp, and it was an interesting sight. The giant snake seemed to be hugging the trunk of a tree, its long body wrapped around it comfortably. The man who noticed the snake kept a distance and decided to capture the view. He stood still, impressed by how big the snake was and how it blended into its surroundings. Seeing the snake reminded him that nature has many surprises, even in places that might seem ordinary. After taking a few pictures, he chose to leave the snake alone, letting it continue resting on the tree while he moved on, happy to have witnessed something so unique. Indian python. Drivers in the Indian city of Kochi were surprised when a massive python crossed the road, blocking traffic. The giant snake moved slowly, causing cars to come to a halt for a few minutes. Many brave motorists decided to get out of their cars to get a closer look at the impressive creature and to film it as it made its way across the street. As the python continued its journey, it finally made its way off the road and into the trees and bushes nearby. The drivers watched as the snake disappeared into the greenery, leaving behind a sense of wonder about the wildlife that can be found even in busy city streets. Malaysian serpent. A giant snake measuring up to 8 meters was caught by people in Malaysia. When they found the big snake, they knew they needed to be careful. The team worked together to grab the snake gently to keep it safe. They were surprised by how big it was and took some time to measure it. After measuring the snake, the men decided to take it back to the wild. They knew that this large snake belonged in its natural home, so they carefully released it back into the forest. As the snake slithered away, the men felt happy to have had this experience and to have helped the snake return to where it belonged. Home intruder. While casually strolling through his backyard, this man was startled to spot a 9-foot python making its way up the side of his house. The homeowner recalled seeing the same snake 6 months earlier in his garage, where he had carefully relocated it outside, hoping it would disappear. However, it seemed the python had developed a fondness for his home as it returned back. Realizing the situation needed some attention, he called in wildlife care experts. They safely moved the snake to somewhere far from the property. It seems the snake had quite an interest in the man's house, but thankfully, it was no longer a resident. Dragon snake. A man was walking through a jungle when he looked up and saw something unusual in a tree. To his surprise, it was a giant snake climbing right above his head. Its size made him rethink his decision to visit the dense woods. He was amazed by how big it was and jokingly called it a dragon snake. The snake moved smoothly among the branches, twisting its long body as it climbed. The man paused for a moment, feeling both curious and cautious. He had come to explore the jungle, but had not expected to see such a large snake. After watching it for a while, he decided to keep his distance and continue walking. Mystery behind bench. A man was exploring a swamp in the Amazon rainforest when he noticed something unusual moving behind a fallen tree. As he looked closer, he realized it was a large snake quietly moving through the water. The snake's long body slowly made its way along the swamp's edge, but the guy deserves appreciation for capturing the majestic beast and getting this close to it. Western diamond rattlesnake.
This one's kind of striky, so he might strike at the camera.
While walking through the desert this morning, a man spotted a western diamondback rattlesnake resting near the rocks. It was one of 6 he had seen during his hike, each blending well with the desert's colors. Curious, he brought his camera a bit closer, hoping to get a clearer view of the snake. But as the camera moved closer, the snake wasn't too happy. It struck at the camera, showing it didn't want any company. The man understood and slowly backed away, giving the snake its space. As he continued his hike, he kept an eye out, now more aware of these desert creatures and their way of making themselves noticed. Mystery creature.
Look at that.
In southeastern North Carolina, a video surfaced showing a dark creature swimming near the coast, sparking curiosity among viewers online. Some people wondered if it was an alligator or perhaps a whale. Others even speculated about the Loch Ness Monster, the famous creature from Scotland that many believe is just a myth. As the video spread, more and more people joined the discussion, sharing their thoughts and theories about what the creature might be. Each theory brought excitement, but no one seemed to have the final answer, keeping the mystery alive in the minds of those who watched. Python on roof. What started as an ordinary day quickly turned unusual for some residents on Detroit's east side. They looked up and were shocked to see a giant 18-foot python slowly making its way across a roof. The huge snake was an unexpected sight, and people gathered, watching in disbelief. Without wasting time, they called the local wildlife authorities. Soon, the team arrived and carefully removed the python from the rooftop. They made sure to take it back to a safer, natural place where it belonged. Friendly snake. A farmer recently captured an unusual sight on camera while working in his fields. There, lying on the ground, was a giant snake stretched out across the field, resting quietly. But what happened next was even stranger. A sloth wandered over, moving slowly and carefully, and crossed right in front of the snake. Many might think the sloth made a risky choice, but it turned out there was no reason to worry. The snake simply watched the sloth pass by, not moving an inch. Unlike the pythons and other large snakes we often hear about, this one seemed surprisingly calm, almost friendly, and the two unlikely animals crossed paths without any trouble. Sleeping on tree. Talk about being so tired that you sleep anywhere. This buddy had a similar situation. While a man was checking out his backyard, he saw a giant snake curled up on a tree, sleeping peacefully. The man stood still for a moment, amazed to see such a large creature resting in his yard. How nice it would be to sleep so soundly without a care in the world. Watching the sleepy snake, he became curious about what other surprises nature might hide in his backyard. Carpet python.
See the massive food item in his belly there, which looks like a possum.
The size of the food item that this carpet python had eaten was impressive. It looked like it had caught a large possum the night before. The man watching the snake could only imagine how much effort it took for the python to catch such a big meal. The snake, still resting after its feast, appeared to be quite an impressive creature. The man wondered what other stories it might have to tell from its adventures in the wild. Could he find an even bigger one? What other surprises could be waiting for him?
And now he's out on the deck, sunning himself.
Snake in Merper. No one living in the house in Merpur expected to see such a giant snake inside. This unexpected visitor had come from outside and was calmly slithering across the floor. The residents were surprised, but also careful, wanting to ensure everyone was safe. Soon, experts arrived to handle the situation. They carefully removed the snake from the house and took it back to where it belonged in the wild. The whole experience was unusual, but ended safely, leaving everyone with an interesting story to tell. Snake in toilet. Using the toilet is usually a simple and relieving experience until you encounter a huge snake lurking inside, waiting to strike. That's exactly what happened to a man who woke up in the middle of the night to find a snake hissing in his toilet. Shocked and alarmed, he immediately called in experts to handle the situation. Upon arrival, the researchers identified the snake as an oriental rat snake. They carefully removed it from the house and released it back into the wild. While there are harmless snake species in the region, discovering one in your bathroom is enough to make anyone double-check before they sit down. Snake outside house.
Snake that I saw earlier. It's not, that's really scary.
One afternoon, a man was cleaning his backyard, picking up leaves and clearing the space. As he worked, he suddenly saw a pitch-black snake moving along the ground, getting closer to his house. The snake wasn't very big, but it moved quickly, climbing up the wall and getting close to a window. Staying calm, the man called the local animal control team. They arrived soon and carefully removed the snake, making sure it was safe. With the snake gone, the man could go back to his yard feeling at ease. And now, let's move on to our subscriber's pick. Residents in the Peruvian Amazon made a surprising discovery by the edge of the river Momon in Iquitos. they came across an unusually large anaconda snake that measured an impressive 16 feet long. The snake was resting quietly after having eaten an animal, making it a sight to behold. Curious about the giant creature, the men carefully approached it. They caught the snake, taking great care to respect its strength and size. Once they had it under control, the residents posed for photographs beside the enormous snake, excited to capture the moment. After enjoying their time with this remarkable creature, they decided to return it safely to the river. And with that, see you next time.